Welcome to the first step of the color scheme game. First thing you want to do is to print out the PDF file that you find down below and possibly to your right under the downloads. So you'll download that file, open the file, and these are the pages that you're going to have. You're going to have first the background of the color scheme game and how you begin. Next page is 2 copies of the color wheel. The next page begins the templates, template 1 and 2, template 3 and 4, template 5 and 6, template 7 and 8, template 9 and 10, template 11 and 12. The next page will give you a circle, which is a template for making your own color wheel, where you can use the pigments, the yellow, red, and blue, to create the colors that you can actually achieve with the pigments. This original color wheel, and I can't emphasize this enough because this is something that would lead to confusion in the workshops. Depending on the colors that you choose for your primary pigments, you will not get these colors, so don't ever try to match these colors. These are only reference as to what is yellow, red, blue, green, orange, violet, red, violet, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, violet. Your variations are going to be different. Your red violet will not look like my red violet if you're not using the exact same blue, red, and yellow that I used. So this is just a reference, which works perfectly fine as long as you remember that. If you wish to make your own color wheel using the pigments that you're going to use and seeing exactly what you're going to get, then you go to this template and you'll cut this template out to segment it so that all of these other templates will work with your custom-made color wheel. And I will be showing you in another demo how to create that custom color wheel. But it is not necessary. It's just for your convenience if you have a certain color palette that you like to use, and then you would want to repeat that. Okay, so the next page is the first side of your cards that you're going to use. The next page and the last page of the templates is the other side of your card. Then you will have the color scheme game part 1, which is really what this course is all about. And it defines the 12 different color schemes. The next page indicates what the number on your die will indicate in terms of hue. Each of the 12 hues has a number corresponding to it. So if you throw a 12, that means that orange yellow has to be one of the colors you use in your color scheme. Now the rest of the pages are an extension of the game, and these rules and examples will not be part of this course, but it's part of the color scheme game, and you can go ahead and play this if you wish. Eventually there will be another course that will show you examples and will walk you through this game. This is about shapes rather than color schemes. The next one is about value ranges, and it is an additional game that will be covered in a future course. The last one is a compositional arrangement game. That too will be covered in a future course. But the directions are here basically, and I think that you can probably figure that out. If not, just contact me. Page 1 can be easily printed on thin paper, regular copy paper. I print pages 2 through 11 on cardstock. Now you can get cardstock. It's usually £65, I believe, at a place like Staples, or an office supply place. The next few pages, all of these, can be printed on thin paper. For the cards, and I will show you how to make both kinds, I will print page 15 on one side, and then I print page 16. I flip it around. I flip this page around, put it back in the printer, and print 16. So I end up with both sides of the card on one piece of paper. But if that's too complicated for you, don't worry about it. You can do the two together, and I'll show you how to laminate that together. So the next stage, I'm going to cut these down, okay, because I don't like to, I'm very frugal, so I don't like to waste the contact paper by all of this extra. What I use is a clear covering. It's meant for covering cupboard shelves. So that's what I use. You peel it carefully to get it started. I put it down and kind of roll it down. Like that. Because you have to be careful that you're in alignment with it. You try to keep it, the edges in alignment. And you just press it down. Cut that off. All right. This is a double-sided one. And put it back. And for this, you can either just cut it out by hand. I use a paper cutter just because it's neater. I'd like to show you what not to do if you've printed your cards up on separate sheets, if you didn't make them two-sided. You can glue these together, and I'm going to show you how I double-side tape mine together. But before I do that, I want to mention that if you're putting these together, and unless you've used a spray adhesive that covers the entire sheet, and you carefully put this down so that your two pieces of paper are really attached at all points, I'll show you what will happen. This was 2 sheets of paper. I put double-sided tape sporadically across, and I'll show you what happens when I cut it apart. You're going to have cards that are just going to be annoying because they're going to come apart in different ways. So the laminating really doesn't protect it. They're going to get wet, and it would drive me crazy. So I'm suggesting you don't do it that way. I'm suggesting instead, now this may be a strange way to do it, but I want to mark where I'm going to put strips on the back of tape going this way and that way, okay? And then I use double-sided tape that I will put across from those markings. Okay, so now make sure that both tops are, top to top, bottom to bottom. Okay, so again, it's not stuck together all the way, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the cards first, and then I'll show you what I do. So now I have my two-sided cards, and you can see that they too have spaces between them. Now granted, you could use it just like that, but I like to have it water resistant or waterproof because I often use these when I'm outside. And they may be in the grass, and they just, if you don't laminate them, they get beat up pretty quickly. So using the clear contact sheet, so the same thing, you're going to carefully roll it down. You're going to leave space between because you're actually going to leave edges when you cut it. And that's what's going to hold the whole card together. And I'll laminate that one with a scrap. And just like we did before, we'll fold it over. Okay, once it gets started, it's good. Roll it down again so that you don't get those wrinkles. Make sure to leave space on the sides. This time you really want to press in against the edges. So now I cut along and leave not quite 1/4 of an inch. Then your card is sealed. Okay? I think it's much easier to just print on both sides and have one sheet of paper. But if that, as I mentioned before, if that's a little bit too tricky, then you can do it this way. Okay? Then you would cut them all out, and you have at least water-resistant card. So these are all the parts that you need to play the game. You need the color wheel. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 templates, and you need your instruction card. Okay? You also need a tack or a push pin and a piece of cord. And the reason for that is that if you throw a 2, which is double complements, make sure you put it through the middle. This is a wine cork cut into 2 or 3 pieces. Then you can spin it around. Okay, now, the other 2 pieces you have is you have your color wheel circle template and your template to divide it. All right, now, I do want to point out that this circle template is the size of the inside of this color wheel. If you want to be able to label it, as I did, then when you cut out your color wheel, you're going to want to just leave extra room around the outside so that you can label it. Okay? But this fits just like that, and then you'll be able to use all of your templates with your own color wheel. The other piece you need that I forgot to mention is a die. I use a 12-sided die. You can also use 2 6-sided die, or you can just put numbers 1 through 12 on pieces of paper, fold them up, and put them in a bag or a box. Whatever works for you. I just really enjoy the 12-sided die. See you in the next lesson.